What's up guys, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we will be having some massive news in relation to the upcoming summer transfer window. Look, last summer, obviously, we got probably the biggest transfer in a long time since Neymar. Probably, you know what, right? People would say, when Ronaldo went back to Manchester United or Messi went to PSG, but Mbappe moving to Real Madrid on a free, I think that's as big as it can get in this, sort of decade, this sort of generation. Right now, I think apart from Erling Haaland, Mbappe is probably the only other player, to make such headlines, right? But last season, not obviously Real Madrid did sign Mbappe, but it was a relatively quiet window. It really was. I mean, obviously, we saw players leave, Joselu leave, Nacho leave, and Mbappe came in. We saw Endrick come in, but that was obviously planned from a few years ago. And is that it in terms of the transfers last summer? I want to say that is pretty much it in terms of transfers. I hope I'm not missing out on anyone. But look, this squad has not really changed much in the last year or so, and that was because firstly, all the sort of the headlines, the spotlight was to be on Mbappe, and secondly, we all knew that Real Madrid and specifically Florentino Perez, he wants 2025 to be, I wouldn't say the biggest in terms of the names, but this is the year where you can actually go in there and bring a couple of players in. Now, it's not saying that these aren't quality players, but the focus isn't just on signing the best player in the world. Now, you could be signing the best player in a specific position, but the focus is certainly trying to improve the little pieces in the squad. So instead of all the focus on the quality, it is a little bit more well even out in terms of quality and quantity. Look, I think Real Madrid don't need, to always be signing your Mbappes, your Vinicius Juniors, your Jude Bellinghams, your Rodrigos. I don't think we need all of our players to be that. I think sometimes having a Dani Ceballos around, I think Lucas Vazquez, having him around, I think, even if you don't look at the older players, look at the likes of Brahim Diaz. I think that, the younger players, Endrick, Arda Güler, Asencio, these might not be the best players in their position in the world. They might not be the best. Raul Asencio might not be the best centre back in the world. But in 5 years' time, he could be. Maybe even less than that. But the point is, a squad cannot just consist of the best players in the world. Because financially, it's impossible. You can't afford that. And secondly, the squad chemistry just is not going to be there. I mean, everyone's just going to be, hating on each other because they're not playing. You need players who are willing to maybe not play, not be the starter, not play, not cause problems, and when they are caught upon, they do the job. And I'm not saying Trent is going to come in and he's going to be a backup player. I think he will come in, he will be a starter, he will be in that squad, in that starting 11. Definitely. But I think that this is a summer where we look at the positions we actually need. I don't think we needed Mbappe. Now, we needed a striker, but when Mbappe first came in, he wasn't really your out and out number 9. Now, he has gone on and he has, contributed a lot. He has got a lot of goals. He has obviously done a great job. I think, is that 31 goals this season? Um, and yeah, obviously he has been a big, you know, sort of revolution in terms of a transfer, a signing, and maybe the first 6 months weren't, that bright, but the last couple of months he has really, I would say, turned it around for a very very good, um, a good sort of, impact. But I just think that sometimes we look at this team going forward. There is no doubt that Mbappe, Vinicius, Rodrigo, Brahim, and Arda Güler and Endrick, these are incredible players. But I mean, the midfield with Dani Ceballos out, and I can't believe I'm saying this, and with Luka Modric being 39, Camavinga and Tchouaméni occasionally have injury issues. You have got Bellingham and Valverde as your only two players. And Fede Valverde has played almost every single game, yet again. He has been rested, but yet again, he has been playing almost every single game. And you just can't, be making a player play, 50 games, 60 games a season, and starting and playing the full 90 for 50, 60 games. You just can't do that. Defensively, it isn't great. I think that we have obviously been lucky to get a gem in Raul Asencio come through and, obviously shine. But you have to look at the future. Alaba isn't getting any younger. He's getting on, and injuries have been catching up to him. Militao has suffered big injuries, an ACL injury. Carvajal, massive ACL injury as well. And then you look at Lucas Vazquez, he's in a right back. Mendy and Fran Garcia are suspect at times. So, with that being said, this team needs that sort of injection, especially in that defensive department. And I just think that this summer, we will see that. Now, with that being said, obviously, these news are not 100% confirmed yet. But it pretty much is. I think that as a Real Madrid fan, when Alaba joined, when Rudiger joined, when Mbappe joined, before they joined, the couple of weeks and months before, when these sort of news came out, you were just going, yeah, that's it. And I think it's the same case again. I think that the fact that Fabrizio Romano has come out and pretty much said that it is pretty much 95% done, and you're just remaining some paperwork, sorting out the contracts, and then Real Madrid just to inform Liverpool about it, and it is the final stages, and it is pretty much done. And I think that it would be shocking if this doesn't go on to happen. I think it would really be. And look, I don't think any player, even if they're not leaving yet, any player who gets to their last 2 months of their contract would, not be in talks with his current club for the whole year, flirt with a new club, and it's been reported by everyone, suddenly reject the new club and expect to stay. Because I don't see him suddenly rejecting Real Madrid and staying at Liverpool. I think that the fact that he has come this far to not accept whatever Liverpool have put on the table, and Trent has said, look, maybe I want to leave, maybe I'm going to leave, but I won't sign this contract. And what he has done by not signing that contract is he has basically said, maybe I will stay, maybe I will go, but I'm not decisive. I'm not decided on staying. I'm not 100% committed to staying, and that doesn't give out good signs and that sort of commitment for the long term to Liverpool. And I think that maybe he will stay, although it is pretty much a 5% chance. Actually, to be fair, I can't see him staying. I really can't. But I just think that commitment is gone. I just think that I'm not going to use the word trust, but I'm just saying that commitment, that hunger to stay just isn't there. And I think that we've seen it before with Alaba, we've seen it before with Rudiger, we've seen it before with Mbappe. You know, these are players that, were into the last couple of months and they decided they're not gonna stay. So we'll see. We've just been waiting for that official announcement, but here it is. Breaking. It's now a matter of time before the Trent Alexander-Arnold deal is signed, and then it would be here we go from Fabrizio Romano. So that is a pretty good news there. Now, couple more news. Next up, this is a pretty interesting one. Just in, Real Madrid have decided to go for Dean Huijsen this summer after it was planned for 2026 from AS. Now, I would say AS are pretty reliable. They're pretty reliable, and I don't think they're the only outlet reporting this. Look, I'm not gonna claim I know a lot about Dean Huijsen in terms of the way he plays. Obviously, we've seen how good he has been. He has done it in the best league, probably, in the world, the Premier League. For not even the biggest team, he's done it for a Bournemouth side that I wouldn't say are crap, but they're probably close to the mid-table, that somehow are pushing for Europe. They are a mid-table team pushing for Europe, which is just remarkable. And yeah, I mean, he's been part of that defense. Obviously, a very good player. Was at Juventus. They let him go for about 15 million euros, I think. And I'm pretty sure he has got a release clause or something about 50 million. I don't know if it's euros or pounds, but it's one of the two, I think. Now, look, I think that 50 million euros / pounds, whichever one it is, would be a great deal. I think that, look, you've got 4 centre backs at the club. Alaba, Rudiger, Militao, Asencio. Asencio is clearly for the future. Alaba is not. Rudiger is not for the long-term future. He's only got a couple of years in him as well. And they've got a very injury-prone Militao. I think the plan is going to be this in the next few years. You bring Dean Huijsen in. Alaba eventually leaves. You've got Rudiger, Militao, Huijsen, and Asencio. And what that basically means is that whenever Rudiger decides to leave, whenever it is, you have got Dean Huijsen there, ready to step up. And why? Because he has had that couple of years under the guidance of Alaba, of Rudiger, even of Militao, who is young but he's experienced. He has that couple of years of experience, and he is obviously ready. So is Asencio. I think these players are ready now, but I think if you want them to be the best centre back pairing in the world, you give them 2 to 3 years together to gel in, and then you have probably the best centre back partnership for the next 10 years. So look, I'm all for this deal. I'm all for it. I think that this is a very exciting player. And obviously, look, Real Madrid wanted Lenny Euro last year. And I think that we didn't get him because we just really weren't into paying that fee that only Manchester United were paying, which was about... How much was it in the end? Because it was reported at a certain period of time was 60 million euros. I'm not sure if it was that expensive, but look, I think that obviously Lenny Euro was a great player, but I think that the ceiling of Dean Huijsen is higher. I do. And obviously being Spanish as well, I wouldn't say... basically a homegrown player in terms of being Spanish, and I think Real Madrid are sort of lacking a core of Spanish players. I mean, if Carvajal leaves eventually, Lucas Vazquez leaves eventually, Dani Ceballos might leave for the future. You've got Asencio, Fran Garcia, and that's about it really, because Brahim is Morocco now. So yeah, bringing that Spanish player, Spanish core back in would be very good. So let's see what happens. But I'm all for this deal. I'm really all for it. Speaking of Spanish players, breaking, Real Madrid are now pushing for Martin Zubimendi from TJ Cope, a Spanish radio outlet. Not sure how reliable it is, but look, again, I think that as a Real Madrid fan, this would be a very exciting deal. I'm pretty sure there were rumors in January that he has agreed to join Arsenal, and he will be joining Arsenal. Now, apparently, that pretty much seems like it's not confirmed that he will be going to Arsenal, because Liverpool have been involved, but mainly Real Madrid have been, linked again to get him. I'm not sure how much it'll cost. Apparently, it's between 60 to 80 million euros. Look, again, I can't really say I know a lot about his style of play, and obviously, he seems to be like a defensive midfielder to me. I'm not sure if maybe he could play as an 8, but I think he's more of a 6. And I'm not sure what this signing would mean in terms of Tchouaméni. What does that mean for Aurélien Tchouaméni, for the long-term future? Because Zubimendi is young. You're not bringing in an older player, or you're not bringing in a super young player for the, long future term. You're bringing a player who is young, but he's talented, he's established. He has played for Real Sociedad for a few years now, and he's done very well. And obviously, that does mean that he will be coming in as a player who wants to play 35, 40 games a season. Now, look, again, the positive here is he's Spanish. I think that getting that Spanish core is good. I do like the player. I'm not totally sure about the position, but I'm okay with it. I am. I think that Tchouaméni can do a job at CDM, but again, has some injuries, and I think, again, like I said, I think Zubimendi can play in at 8. And look, Modric will eventually retire. We have to accept that fate. I think Dani Ceballos is on this very good patch, or was at least until the injury, and there is still, it's not ruled out that Dani Ceballos could leave, by the way. And you've got Bellingham, Valverde, Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Zubimendi, maybe Ceballos, 6 options to rotate with out of 3. That will be good. It would. Maybe one has to be compromised. Maybe. And let's not forget, Nico Paz might come back. Let's not forget. So, with 6 options in that midfield, it would be better, because you are moving on Modric, who is a veteran, for Zubimendi, who can play more, who can contribute a lot more. And I'm not saying Modric is, not doing anything, but obviously we know what the limits is. We can't play Modric every game. Sometimes he starts, sometimes he comes on, but Luka Modric is just not going to be playing every single game. Can Zubimendi play every game? No, but he can play a couple of games in a row. He can play most of the season as compared to Luka Modric. So I just think that it would be a good signing. But for me, I think Dean Huijsen is a bigger priority for me. And yeah, overall, Trent, imminent. Dean Huijsen target for this summer, and obviously pushing for Zubimendi per Cope as well. So not just TJ Cope. TJ Cope. So yeah, would this be a very good window? For me, I think it would. I think that these are the positions you need to be looking at. Now, I've seen people say left back. In order to get a left back, I think Ferland Mendy has to go. I don't see Fran Garcia leaving. and reports are saying that it might be Miguel Gutierrez coming back to Real Madrid. We will see. Not a lot of talks about Miguel Gutierrez. Obviously, the left back market isn't the best. Davies has signed a new contract with Bayern, so that is him out. I don't see Real Madrid going for a Theo Hernandez, for example. And there aren't many good left backs out there, so maybe it will be Miguel Gutierrez back. Who knows? But again, Spanish core, Spanish players could be very, very good indeed. And lastly, breaking Raul Asencio renews until 2029 done deal for Marca. I was very happy about that because he has signed a new contract, and then afterwards you got apparently rumors are saying that he will sign another contract until 2031. Now this contract here until 2029 was sort of part of his current contract, so it was like a lever to activate it. So this is sort of activated, and the new contract until 2031 is negotiated. So that will be, getting the player to agree with you. This is part of a clause. So this was activated, by itself, and the other one is a separate deal. So basically, it's a 2-in-1, if you get what I'm saying. Now, what I am confused about here is the fact that apparently he will be having a release clause of 100 million euros. Yes, Raul Asencio will probably have a new, I say probably, reports are saying that Raul Asencio's new contract will have a 100 million euros release clause. 100 million euros. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. I was expecting something big, like 500 million euros, 1 billion euros. And look, no one's gonna pay 500 million euros or 1 billion euros. But that's the point. The point is, no one will be signing Raul Asencio for the next 5, 10, 15 years, however long he stays at the club. And for Real Madrid to only put 100 million euros on his contract suggests that very likely this might not be a player. It might not be a player that they wouldn't mind keeping it for the long run. Basically, this might be a player. He might be a player that the club sees and go, yeah, if someone pays 100 million euros for him, we'll take it. I just don't like that sort of approach and that sort of, mindset. I think this is a player for the long term. I think we've seen it already in him. The defensive capabilities, the speed, the recovery speed, but most importantly, playing for the badge, playing for the shirt, with the passion, with the aggression. I'm not going to say it's Sergio Ramos, but he is that region. He is that sort of built. He does have those characteristics. So, I wouldn't want to see him go. But 100 million euro release clause is just ridiculous. But let me know what thoughts are down below. Hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. Like I said, let me know what thoughts are on Trent, Huijsen, Zubimendi, and Raul Asencio's new contract. Hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe to check us on already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.